Hello LPs, I hope you're doing well this week. We have a wealth of news in the macro and crypto spheres for the bull market, and especially some attractive liquidity pools for liquidity providing. Let me remind you that this is not financial advice, but let's dive right in to see what's happened on the market together and enhance your portfolios to make significant gains on your savings. Well, listen, Trump is now directly confronting China over human rights and the trade war. He's claiming that 170 countries have come kissing his ass to negotiate new trades with him to maintain US coverage, and we'll talk about that right after. For the moment, those who are holding out are China. It's a fratricidal power struggle between the United States and China. We have this magnificent little gadget, the smartphone, which has made David Trump reconsider components for smartphones, computers, and chipsets. He realized that they don't have the capability in the US to produce this beautiful tool of freedom. You know, a smartphone screen comes from Taiwan, Face ID from France, all assembled in China. And unfortunately, the know how has been lost in the US. They no longer know how to make iPhones and build such products themselves. It will take years, so there's a backtrack at Trump's level. So, what's happening is that the United States is providing an international currency for exchanges, which is the dollar, and generally offers protection in case of war. They intervene worldwide, and in return for these good and loyal services, les pays achetaient de la dette américaine, ce qui permettait d'avoir un État déficitaire, et malgré tout, la dette était achetée et donc encore vertueux. But as the United States is lowering the value of the dollar and withdrawing internationally from conflicts, countries are starting to sell off American debt. So there are two solutions. Either possibly look at the BRICS currencies, or for me, buy cryptocurrencies, a digital asset on which states cannot intervene, which is unseizable and mobile. So you are in the right place with equity trading. Nevertheless, regarding American debt, well, you see, it's really quite an open secret. The Fed will absolutely, without any doubt, have to lower its rates to ensure that the states continue buying debt and that the American system can keep going. For that, the next date and the next meeting of the Fed is on May 7th. We see that inflation is decreasing, so there is a higher likelihood of a rate cut. So next meeting on May 7th, until then, we will do what is necessary for our economies and generate recurring profits and yields. Good news for DeFi, it's the support we use for liquidity providing. The rules are abandoned, the restrictive rules are abandoned in the United States, so it's a good drink and good news for cryptos. This week soon there will be the Ethereum update with Spectra, which will take place on May 7th. But whatever happens for me, Ethereum is layer one, number one, used to operate narratives like the tokenization of real assets, stable coins, the DPIN. So whatever people say, without Ethereum, there's no cryptocurrency. So I remain bullish on Ethereum. In a bullish sign, here's a nice one. Whales holding more than 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoins have increased significantly over the last 30 days. So it's quite a positive sign for the market, for us. So what are we buying? What we buy at the level of Bitcoin? I've mapped this trend here clearly, and I'd honestly like it to break so Bitcoin prices start to go back up, enabling us to recover the $104 high and possibly rise around $120. However, the support is broken at 74,000, so for me, I'm still bullish on the market and I don't change my position, so it's positive. At the level of Hondo Finance, in actual tokenization directives aiming for $10 to $15, we see that a morning star has formed there, so that's a good sign. We'll probably enter the range around $1 this week. We have Ethereum in render. In the same way here, I think we'll reach 410 at the top of this move later this week. The Tenkan support came under the opening wick of this particular week. We had a remarkably nice close last week, and with that, so the market is indeed picking up momentum. Ethereum, so for me, there's the Spectra update that might drop it again to 1250. There's the Tenkan here, which is at 2100, so the market might retrace upwards. Well, for now, my strategy is to still reduce my exposure to Ethereum, leaning more towards Sol and Bitcoin while waiting for these updates and getting a clearer picture on Ethereum. So in DCA, in dollar cost average, for now, I buy Bitcoin, Londo, Solana, a little less Ethereum, and Tao. BitTensor, that's my strategy for holding assets. All right, now let's talk about liquidity pools. This week's inflows were still on the base chain with over 315 million. Ethereum at less than 893 million, hence the strategy to slightly reduce Ethereum. And we have Solana at over 893 million. So we're still on the right supports in the club to finish liquidity pools. The Arrow USDC pool is back in range. It is in range from 0.38 to 0.56. We're earning an APR of 307%. If all of this is not very clear to you and I never speak, don't hesitate. In the club, there's training for beginners and experts to learn how liquidity providing works. I'm waiting to recover, to regain my capital on Arrow, and I will exit the Arrow token when prices have risen. The Bitcoin pool alone has done more than 6% in 3 days, more than 6% in 3 days. We are out of range because in fact the price of Sol has increased faster than the price of Bitcoin, so we are completely converted into Bitcoin, but it remains positive. Here is the old range 740, 655, and the new range I will use is 704, 604. We talk about all this and these strategies also in the Antorel Club in the discussion chats, which gives me a new IPR of 144% with this new range. So it prints yields and commissions with an excellent IPR while holding premium assets, which are Sol and Bitcoin. Everything is fine except Sol. Look at this 335% IPR with this new range 00290034. Here is what it looks like on the graph. We are well positioned. We have here a nice range that has been defined with stable values at the bottom of this range at 0.28. So I'm going to strategically position myself with an ambitious 280% yield range on the formidable render Sol. The Rapid Sui pool was out of range due to a rapid increase in the price of Sui. However, here we are on the Ishimoku Tenkan indicator, which is in support. I think Sui will retrace. In the case of Ethereum, on the contrary, we have support below, so the price may rise. But if we are out of range, I will not move, I will wait. And I'm glad I did, because today the position is back in range and I'm generating gains again. I generate earnings through commissions for providing a liquidity pool service, and at the same time my assets appreciate in value. Finally, we have the Sol USDC CBTC pool also on VFRT, which shows 196%. And lastly, my favorite Sol USDC, I made over 14% in 3 days. I had a range of 104, 132, and the price approaches the top of the range at 132. So I will set a new range by analyzing the Sol price around 122 and $103 to provide liquidity. With this range of 122.44, I'm achieving an APR of 277%. So actually, even if the market takes time, if the bull run takes time, it's okay. Since we're doing liquidity providing, we're generating recurring profits, and we have a long-term investor position. And for those who are a bit more game-oriented, a tight range at 125, 139 with a yield of 472%. There you go. Take care. Feel free to like these videos, subscribe, and also click on the link in the description if you want to join the club for more info, to chat with other crypto enthusiasts who, like you, are looking to generate over 10% gains on their savings per month. Alright, bye bye LPs. See you soon. Ciao.